I've noticed this as a thing, Pat, where, Jeffrey Epstein committed these crimes. And if you remember, we on talk radio focused a lot on these things throughout these times because, partially because Epstein, really bad guy, deserves to pay a price for these crimes, but also because he was tied in with Bill Clinton. And no one in the media cared.
Not interested.
No one
at
cared.
all.
No one cared at all.
Not in the least.
Now, shockingly, after all this time, Acosta, was the labor secretary for Donald Trump, as soon as
until this came out.
As soon as you could tie Acosta into the story, which is what the basis of a big focus of the Miami Herald reporting was on Acosta, because he was the guy that cut the deal with Epstein.
Yeah.
Now that Trump's administration could be tied into the story, all of a sudden it's a big story.
Everybody cares.
Same thing with Dershowitz. Dershowitz has been a darling of the media his entire life. And now, because he's last couple years has been defending Trump. He's not a conservative.
No, I think he even said he wouldn't vote for Trump.
Yeah, but he said this impeachment thing is nonsense and wrote a book about it. And ever since then, he's been going on shows and saying what he believes, which he's always done. And now all of a sudden, they're coming after Alan Dershowitz. And you just notice this as a law. There's a pattern here where Bill Cosby, I very much think did the things that he's accused of. However, that was around for a really long time. And then all of a sudden, Bill Cosby started saying things that sounded kind of conservative. And now he's in prison. And it's I don't know.
Wild
Maybe I'm reading
I'm
too
sure.
much into it. It's possible.
Wild
I did
coincidence.
a podcast with Tim Pool the other day. It's going to come out in a couple of weeks. I'll tell you, he's got a great theory on this because he's called now a conservative.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not conservative. I'm not conservative. No. He said, I just happen to be standing up for things that, these crazy progressive socialists are saying that we all have to abide by. He said, you and I will disagree on almost everything. And he said, I think there's a reason for that. He said, I think the media and the new media, Google, Facebook, YouTube, he said, I think they are redefining what it means to be a conservative. He said they're picking off the real conservatives one by one and then relabeling people like me a conservative, and then I skate through. So when somebody says, well, what's a conservative? The only ones that will be left to say, well, no, I'm not really a conservative, but here's the point of view, will be the non-conservatives.
Right. If you redefine conservative as a person who's basically liberal, but out for, cares about free speech. And so that's the far right part of what you're going to allow on your platform.
Who still appreciates and supports capitalism.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of defined as a conservative now. If you're a capitalist.
So here's the amazing thing is, don't think this won't happen or can't happen. This is what they did to the classic liberal. They became libertarians because liberal was hijacked by FDR. And he said, I'm a liberal. No, he was a progressive. But Wilson saw that the progressive label had been, or not Wilson, FDR saw that Wilson had destroyed the progressive label. They needed to repackage it. And so FDR said, yep, I'm a classic liberal. We're liberal. This is what liberals are. Well, no, that wasn't what it was at the time. Now all of a sudden a classic liberal, which really is kind of the libertarian conservative of the day. Now all of a sudden it means you're for big state. That's what they've done before, and they took the libertarian chair away. Now they're taking away the conservative chair as well. That will leave you with one party, guys.
They're really good at it.
They're really good at it.
That's why the democracy thing is so important to me.
Yes.
Because they've done the same thing with democracy. Democracy is code word for socialism now.
And democracy 100 years ago was known as a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, because the founders said it was.
Yeah, it dies.
Yeah.
Democracy.
They don't last 200 years.
No, they don't. They don't last very long in any shape. Let me go back to Epstein. Epstein last night had a boo-boo on his neck. Some people are saying it really wasn't a serious attempt to kill himself. He may have He may have, been trying, I don't know, trying to get his neck through the bars or something. No idea what he was doing. But I do believe that the guy could be suicidal because he's going to be Whitey Bulger-ed. Do you remember Whitey Bulger?
Mm-hmm.
He was the
boss from Boston on the FBI's most wanted list for decades, and was finally captured in like a small apartment with his girlfriend where he lived for a very long time.
Right. And he didn't last long in prison.
No.
The mob guys, if you've tried to get out of the mob, you don't last long. You're shivved.
And that's kind of the standard thing with child molesters too, right?
Correct.
Like not exactly a warm welcome when you go to prison.
Not only are you a child molester, you're also the enemy now. You have the goods on anyone from Prince Andrew to Bill Clinton. And we all know the Clintons have killed hundreds.
Well, go look for the list. You'll see.
Right.
You'll see.
No, but seriously, I mean, there are people that just can't afford their image to go down.
Oh, I mean,
they're very desperate people who have a lot of power.